Hey guys, so Algorand is up 150% over the last 30 days. It's sitting at $1.90, but how far can it go? I know that's a question on a lot of your guys' minds, and I wanted to break this down by looking at some of the competitors in the space and see how much more potential Algorand still has yet untapped. So let's take a look. So what I thought we'd do is we take a look at some of the other big layer 1 competitors ahead of Algorand and take a look at what stands in their way between getting to these platforms, and if they could reach the potential of these platforms, what could Algorand be trading at today, which we'll show you very shortly. So the first and most obvious layer 1 is Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin is sitting at a price of around $46,000 after the small crash we had. Market cap of 869 billion, although we've seen this hit $1 trillion. And I've added 2 extra columns here which I want to come on to, and that is transactions per second and block finality. So your transactions per second is what it says, how many transactions can be completed on that layer 1. And the second one is finality, and that's how long before that transaction, that block, is complete and irreversible. And this is really important for any good secure blockchain. Now, we know that your standard layer 1 blockchain is trying to tackle the blockchain trilemma of security, speed, and scalability, but also decentralization, and they always struggle doing all 3 of those. That's the thing, right? Because if you focus on 2, the third gets compromised. So that's what these platforms are trying to do, and I thought a good indication of these would be to look at their transactions per second and block finality types. So we can see Bitcoin is obviously slow, which is why they're building the Lightning Network on top of it, and it only carries out 5 transactions per second. It takes 60 minutes for these to be final and irreversible on the blockchain. Now, Ethereum, sitting at $3,267,000, has a market cap of 398. Now, it could do a little bit better. You see between 15 to 20 transactions per second. They're saying that's going to go up massively in ETH 2.0, but that's been delayed and delayed again, so we can't really take that as gold just yet. And the finality for Ethereum is 14 minutes, even on ETH 2.0. That's what they're stating here. Now, moving on to Cardano. Now, we know Cardano have a solid team. They have good marketing, good decentralization. And Cardano are sitting at $2.36. They've had a good pump up recently, and they're sitting close to 80 billion in market cap. Now, they're doing a little bit better, much better actually. They're doing 100 transactions per second with capacity for some more, and they're delivering about a 60-second, from what I can find in my research, block finality time. Okay, and then next, the one on everybody's lips right now is Solana, which has taken a massive pump up recently in this craze for a level 1 platform, sitting at about $174 and a $53 billion market cap. Now, this is the fastest network of them all. This is one of the reasons Solana is climbing, because they can claim to do 50,000 transactions per second. But here's the kicker. In all my research, I could not find what their block finality is. Okay, and that's where we come on to Algorand, because Algorand are doing 1,000 transactions per second, so 10 times better than Cardano and about 50 times better than Ethereum, and their block finality time is 4.4 seconds, and they're claiming they can improve this to 2.5 seconds. Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, because yes, you want a fast blockchain capable of a lot of transactions per second, but you need to be able to complete the blocks and have block finality at a speedy, at a good time to keep up, right? There's no point having, if Bitcoin had 50,000 transactions per second, but the finality was 5 days, you know, that doesn't complete the trilemma, which we're after, of decentralization, scaling, and security. So what I thought we'd do is, and this is the best way to value any company, any equity, any real estate, and same for crypto. If you want to value something and see how much potential it has, you want to compare it to its peers, its competitors, its equivalents. And I put a set here of the ones which are above Algorand in market cap. So what I thought I'd do is, let's take a look at what Algorand would have to do to reach the market caps of these platforms. So in order for Algorand to reach the market cap of Bitcoin at 869 billion, it would have to 79x. Now, to be conservative, what I've not done is I've not said, oh, but Bitcoin's going to go up, because by the time something like Algorand starts to pick up pace, naturally Bitcoin's going to grow to increase the ceiling, as is Ethereum, as is Cardano. Everything grows together because the overall market size is changing. I've assumed it stays static. Let's say Bitcoin goes nowhere from now. Algorand would have to 79x in order to reach its market cap. So if you were to argue that Algorand was a better layer 1 solution, then you would need to 79x. And I've added this here on purpose just as a benchmark, because Bitcoin is considered the ultimate store of value, much more than it really is a layer 1 solution. So the bottom 3 are the more accurate level 1 comparisons, okay? So in this essence, if Algorand was to 79x to reach Bitcoin's current market cap, that would give it a price target of $150 per Algo token, okay? Now, something a bit more realistic, Ethereum. So Ethereum is sitting at 398 billion. So we're 36x away from getting Algo to Ethereum's current market cap. But we know Ethereum's booming. Ethereum's got the first mover advantage. They've got a vast ecosystem. They've got multiple layer 2 networks built on top of it. They've got multiple bridges to other platforms, and they're very well decentralized. But what are their weaknesses? They're really slow and they're really expensive. The gas fees are really prohibitive. And that's where Algorand and Solana are starting to take a little bit of market share, as investors are starting to understand that this is not a winner-takes-all model. It doesn't have to be Ethereum or nothing. We need more and more good layer 1 solutions, because the demand for DeFi, the demand for NFTs, the demand for gaming on these platforms are continuing to increase. And so that's why these are starting to be really hot commodities right now. So Ethereum, for us to get to, as Ethereum grows, and a lot of people are saying Ethereum can at least 3x to 10 grand, 4x, a bit more, then this is going to take Ethereum to 1.2 trillion. I mean, 1.2 to 1.6 trillion in market cap. But we're saying, what if Algorand just got to its current market cap? That would be a 36x, and that would take each Algo coin to $68. Okay, so let's say we're being even more conservative than that. What if we say Algorand just needs to catch up with Cardano? And Cardano, I'm a big fan of Cardano. I've got a great investment in Cardano. It's been growing nicely. But Cardano hasn't got massive adoption yet and massive use cases. They've got great marketing and they've got a solid team, but it's slower than Algorand. I mean, we can see that on the statistics I shared with you. It's significantly slower than Algorand. It takes minutes to finalize, and it's more expensive than Algorand. There's limited developer languages. You have to use Haskell to develop on Cardano. There's no smart contracts just yet, although they're saying it's around the corner. We can see that. We've seen that with Alonzo, so it has technically just started. So yeah, there's a lot of pros for Algorand versus even Cardano, and I'm a massive fan of Cardano, but they've still got a lot more to prove. And so what I'm saying is, even without them proving that, and Algorand already proving that they've built Tether on that platform, USDC from Coinbase and Circle has been built on that platform as well. Algorand has got some feathers in its cap. It's one of the old guard. It's been around for a long time. We know that Mikhaili, the founder, was a Turing Prize winner for cryptography at MIT. This is a lot of heritage in that team, and a lot of great, foundations behind it. They're one of the old guard, so to speak. So if it was to reach this 79 billion of Cardano, that would imply a 7x. Okay, so that would be a 7x, and that would get each Algo token to $13, okay? Just to get to where Cardano is now, okay? And we've already seen, by the way, that Cardano was much higher than this. They were closer to 100 billion when it was at $3 each, okay? It's just settled down now at about $2. What was it? $2, there you go, 36, okay? So this was much higher when it was sat at $4. So that would give you a $13 Algorand. And my most conservative price target for Algorand is Solana's. So if we look at Solana, and we know Solana is incredibly fast, but we've got to take it, and I like Solana again, I've got a good position in Solana, it's done well for me. But again, we have to look at the pros and cons. And the pros of Solana are, we know it's really fast, but about a third of it is used for its consensus. So a third of the throughput on Solana is actually used in its consensus mechanism. Now, we know they've got massive VC funding to help support their ecosystem, which is really good, and it's rapidly growing, and it's got a lot of attention. But Their smart contracts aren't as secure as Algorand. It's expensive to build nodes, and which will, in the long term, limit the decentralization of the network. The scalability is questionable because of the amount of traffic you need for the consensus mechanism to work, and the fees are currently higher than Algorand's. But maybe that's due to how quickly they've grown over time. So even if we were to get to where Solana is now, and again, Solana's cooled off a little bit. We were at the 200 mark. Solana's cooled off to 173. So it's, 53 is not the highest market cap, but just if Algorand was to get to this 53 billion market cap, which is a modest 5x, each Algorand is sitting at a $9.50 target. So where do I stand on Algorand? I mean, Algorand's definitely a coin you want to be in. It's something that I was building a small position in a long time ago, but I do want to get in a lot heavier. I'm not in this coin as heavy as I want to be. Layer 1s are really hot right now. I think they will continue to be as the trend continues to increase. You've got to look at the end user behavior. End users are using DeFi, they're using NFTs, they're using gaming right now. If anybody comes up with an NFT, Bored Apes, CryptoPunks, anything else, you come up with any pixelated NFT right now, and total and value is going to be locked in those NFTs. So we can see that there's the demand for layer 1 is going to increase. Ethereum, even with ETH 2.0, is not going to be enough. There will need to be a strong Cardano, Solana, and I think there's room for at least one or two more. And I think Algorand is vying for that spot. I think the market caps of all these platforms are going to increase as Bitcoin heads to 100,000 and beyond. And that's going to give a lot of breathing room for Algorand to easily reach these market caps here. So my estimate on the conservative side is you're easily going to get about a 10x. And I'd even say this a 20x, close to where a 20x would be a sensible multiple to achieve for Algorand over the medium term. Obviously, all of this depends on Bitcoin moving and creating the ceiling higher, Ethereum pushing on, which gives room for Cardano, Solana, and Algorand behind it to take up market share. So definitely a coin I'd want to be positioned in. This is not financial advice, but I'm just waiting on sensible levels to kind of top up the bag and dollar cost average in. But the premise is the same. Layer 1 solutions, you need those in your portfolio. I'm going to release a video very soon on how to build out your altcoin portfolio for those new to investing. Please do go check that out. I think it's got a lot of nuggets which you'll find really helpful. But definitely have Algorand on your radar. Look at the charts. Try to find entry points in when it takes a little dip and start building your position slowly. Again, not financial advice, just for entertainment. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.